Hello guys, it is Gate of Theories here, and today we are going to be talking about the show Riverdale. Now, Season 4 has been coming out over the past few weeks, and it has just brought us so many more questions. Like, we had all of Season 3, which was awesome, and then the season finale with that whole spring break bit, all sort of brought like loads and loads of questions about what is going to happen in Season 4, and then we thought we might get some answers, but in fact, it's just given us a load more complicated questions, which is what Riverdale is very good at doing. And one of the trends it seems to have in Season 4 is at the end of every episode it's flash forwarding to the finale of the season, which is going to take place in spring break, which seems to have something to do with Jughead going missing, or Jughead not being there. And in the past few episodes we've had a lot of more information, and it all seems to be revolving around our favourite character, Jughead. Now, before we go any further, there is going to be spoilers in this video. You have been warned. So if you haven't seen the current few episodes of Riverdale, make sure you go and check them out, then come back to this video, and then we can start discussing more about what we think is going to happen at the end of Season 4. And like I was saying, it revolves a lot around the character Jughead. And lots of people are thinking, including me, could this mean that they're going to kill Jughead? So firstly, let's have a look at just what exactly we know about the finale of Season 4. As I said before, it's most likely going to take place at the senior year's spring break, or at least it's where the TV show is heading right now. Of course, at the end of Season 3 finale, not only learning who the Gargoyle King was and how he was working with the Black Hood, as well as finding out lots about Alice and the farm and lots more other stuff, at the very end it seemed like everything was fine. However, it wasn't. The four main characters discuss how they're going to spend their last year as a normal life, without any distractions or mysteries. However, it flash forwards to the next spring break and shows Veronica, Betty and Archie standing over a bonfire, half naked and covered in blood. Archie holds Jughead's beanie as Betty instructs the group to burn all their clothes and for them never to talk about this night again. She mentions they have to go their separate ways and never see each other again, so no one can reveal what has happened. However, Jughead is nowhere to be seen. Now, people thought he might have just gone to check if anyone else was there or something like that, but then we got the clips from Season 4. The first episode of Season 4 is dedicated to Luke Perry, so it doesn't involve any flash-forwarding scenes. However, at the end of every episode since up to the present day, there has been one always saying spring break, or relating to this whole spring break leading up thing. The first one shows many people all calling out and searching for Jughead in the forest where Jughead first discovered G&G. It's night, just like how it was the night from the end of Season 3. But it doesn't specify in which order these flash forwards are taking place. The most logical sense would be for the flash forwards to go in chronological order, so running parallel with the actual story, but this is Riverdale and sticking to the rules is probably not going to happen. So all these scenes at the end of every episode might all be in a random order, we just don't know yet. But anyway, the scene shows the police and several dogs, Sheriff F.P. Jones, Betty and Kevin, Archie and Veronica, Cheryl and Tony, and lots more people, but it's hard to see who. So obviously Jughead has gone missing. This could be Betty, Veronica and Archie trying to hide what they did at the end of Season 3 finale, and maybe they killed Jughead, but we're just not sure yet. In the next episode we get a final answer to the farm being stopped as Betty finally saves Alice, and at the end we might not get a flash forward, but we do get Betty and Jughead talking about Charles and then getting a VHS tape. Might not seem much, but is definitely going to play a big role. The next episode is an entire episode devoted to Halloween that included Jughead being trapped in a coffin by his Stonewall peers. Riverdale gave us flash forward scene at the coroner's lab. It looks like Betty Cooper and F.P. Jones are there to identify a body, and when the sheet is pulled away, there is Jughead on the auto-spy table. Now, this was the main peaking moment. Considering we'd seen Jughead all through this episode inside a coffin, like nothing else but a coffin, and the bodies is Jughead. However, before the scene, we get Betty and Jughead talking with Charles, listening into their conversation, and Jughead tells Betty, if he went missing, Betty would come to find him, which is relating to what we saw before about Jughead being missing in the woods. Maybe the scenes we see in this episode is the Jughead they've just found in the woods, who knows. Then we get to our most recent episode where at the end, Jughead is told to write a perfect murder. Coincidence? I think not. Anyway, FP then comes in saying to Veronica, Betty and Archie that they're under arrest for the cold-blooded murder of my son Jughead Jones. Now there's only one thing that makes me suspicious about this entire scene. The fact that no one is freaking out. Betty, Veronica and Archie seem fine. They look slightly worried, but they seem okay about this whole situation, and Kevin, Mad Dog and Reggie all seem like it's just a normal day. Like, I know this is Riverdale and lots of crazy stuff has happened over the past few years, but surely they'd be freaking out if their closest friends just killed another one of their closest friends. Like, seriously, not to mention, FP doesn't look angry at all. He looks slightly angry, but that's about it. Before we saw FP and Betty in the coroner's lab looking at Jughead. If he is dead and Betty killed him, then surely FP would be really angry at his son's girlfriend who was helping him out on this case. But yet, no one, and I mean no one, is freaked out by all of this scene. There was more people freaking out at the fact that Archie got arrested out of the blue at the end of Season 2, yet people aren't freaking out at that fact that Archie might have killed his best friend. Like, what? Something is not right, and from this, I've came to my conclusion that Jughead obviously isn't dead, but rather people just think he is, or in other words, he faked his death, because there's no reason why on earth these people shouldn't be freaking out at the fact that their best friends might have just killed Jughead. Like, you wouldn't just stay calm. And it's all beginning to make sense with the information we got in the last episode. Everyone in this classroom knows Jughead is dead, but they're not freaking out, probably because they're so close to Jughead that they know he's secretly still alive, but pretending to be dead. Why he's pretending to be dead, we'll come on to later. But for now, let's just think about how they would have faked Jughead's death. And the answer lies right before us, in the scene before this one. In this scene, Jughead is asked to write the perfect murder. That's how the gang will fake killing Jughead. Jughead shows them what the perfect murder is like, and they stage it. They make people believe he has been murdered, he goes missing, so they search for him, and they blame it on his best friends as the public assumes it was them who murdered him. Now, I know what you're all saying, we saw Jughead dead in the coroner's lab. Well, first of all, we're not sure if he is dead in that scene, and second of all, they know the coroner very well. He helped Betty out on many cases before, so he could easily help them fake Jughead's death by drugging him with something that makes him seem dead. But if all this is true, and Jughead faked his murder, then first of all, why? And second of all, why would he risk putting Veronica, Archie, and Betty, his three best friends, in prison? For one, Betty is his girlfriend, so he wouldn't want her to be locked up. Veronica already has two parents at this point in jail, and the last thing Jughead wants is to help Hiram Lodge. And Archie has already had to suffer through juvie, and Jughead knows just how hard it was for him. Now, I'd say the main reason why Betty, Veronica, and Archie are risking this is because they're Jughead's closest friends, so they'll do this for him. But obviously, the reason for Jughead wanting to fake his death means something huge must have happened, making all the main characters having to sacrifice their biggest friendship. It could be a huge climax where everything from the past 4 years returns, like at the end of Season 3. Either way, if we go back to what Betty said at the end of Season 3, she mentions all 4 of them have to go their separate ways, so nothing is uncovered. Whatever happened must have been huge, because they would never have done this otherwise. Now, it may be the farm, it may be Brett and Stonewall's school, but I'm swaying more to the next main villain of this season. Every season has a new mystery. Series 1 was Jason Blossom, Series 2 was the Black Hood, Series 3 was the Gargoyle King and the farm, so what's Series 4? And at this moment in time, I'm swaying towards Charles. Now, you might think that is just a load of crap, that even Betty is starting to get slightly suspicious. Charles randomly appeared to Alice, warning her about the farm, and she joined. He's been getting ever so slightly closer to Betty, even putting ideas in her head about murderers. He even said he has the serial killer genes, which is very unlikely, but he could be the next serial killer for all we know, and he might just be trying to get Betty to kill people for him, and he's basically training his new army. He's training all the young teens who want to be part of the FBI. Maybe he'll use that as like an army against other people. Who knows? He's basically doing what Chick did in Season 2, only this time it really is Charles. Now this might not be true, but Charles is definitely suspicious. He turned up out of the blue and told Betty that her mother has been undercover all this time, putting herself in danger. He helped Betty find the mysterious phone call on Halloween, which was just reminding her more of serial killers, and he's even listening into Betty's conversations that she has on the phone. Betty even said it herself. Why is he in Riverdale? Maybe it's because he's secretly going to be the next villain, and one of the reasons why Jughead ends up having to fake his own death because of Charles's consequences. Who knows? But whatever the reason, I'm sure that Jughead isn't dead, because I really doubt they do that. He's probably told his father and his closest friends that he has to fake his death for some huge reason, and Betty, Veronica, and Archie tried covering it up like we see at the end of Season 3. However, the authorities find out, and so does FP, so they tell FP, and Betty and Veronica and Archie just seem like they're getting arrested, but in fact, they're just leaving Riverdale and doing what Betty said, going their separate ways.
We finish our senior year, we graduate, and we'll go our separate ways. That is the only way that we won't get caught.
So guys, that's what we think will happen at the end of Riverdale Season 4. If you agree with us, make sure that you smash that like button down below, or if you just enjoyed our time here discussing about Riverdale Season 4, because it is awesome. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure that you do. It's really easy. Just go and click that red subscribe button down below and have your notifications turned on. Tell us in the field section down below what your Riverdale Series 4 theories are and whether you think maybe this is true. Do you think Jughead is going to die? Or do you think he's just faking the whole thing? And do you think that Betty, Veronica, and Archie are going to be arrested for whatever they have done? Let us know all your thoughts in the field section down below. And as always, we've been here on Gated Theories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.